This episode of Wardogs Hour Podcast is brought to you by Wardogs NFT. We are three dumb digs aiming to make a huge difference in the Web3 space. For more information regarding our Wardogs NFT project, head to our socials, Wardogs_NFT on both Instagram and Twitter, and our website, www.wardogsnftrange.com. The Wardogs Hour Podcast aims to inspire people by sharing real-life experiences and what possibilities we have at our fingertips using our connections, skills and disciplines learned from our time in the military. Let's spin some mad worries and have a laugh.
Hi boys, I have a question for the men. What the fuck do you want? What is it? I can't figure it out.
Sarah is the founder of Dijolife, a holistic approach to healing that has now amassed a community of over 50,000 women globally. She's a personal mentor to women looking to reduce the stress of high-functioning anxiety. She's a published author, a yoga instructor, and a life coach. She's a 15-year military naval officer and veteran of global war on terror, and a recipient of the Hugh Pathard Memorial Award for Excellence in Leadership. Sarah is an international Category A hydrographic surveyor, postgraduate, University of Plymouth, undergraduate degree BA UNSW. She is also a graduate of the Australian Defence Force Academy. Sarah, good afternoon. And I must say, it's an honour to have you on the podcast today. Your resume is nothing short of astonishing, and thank you for accepting our invitation and having us in your store to conduct this podcast this afternoon.
Oh, thanks for dropping by, guys. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks for listening. I love hearing the feedback on your bio. You're like, oh, she sounds excited.
yeah. Look, I did a bit of LinkedIn research there, and I was just like, copy and paste. Here we go. But you came under extreme recommendation from my partner, Kelly, at Legal Aid.
Oh, that's lovely.
She said, you're a must to get on the show, and we've been working towards it, and now we are here today.
I know, it's very exciting. We literally just shut the shop too, so...
Perfect.
Yeah.
We won't have any intruders like the last episode, but I think we're going to keep that on there, actually. So it was pretty funny, actually. So just a random walking in as we're discussing... it was more of an alpha chat, so she would have got a bit of a rude shock, I reckon. It was interesting. She just sort of, whoop. Firstly, we'd love to know when and why did you join the Navy?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So I'm from a long line of veterans. My pop was actually POW, World War II. My dad's Vietnam veteran.
Yep.
It was never something that I don't remember consciously as a child thinking, I'm going to be a military officer. I think it was just I was always surrounded by war stories from the youngest age, and the stories were always self-sacrificing and heroic. And so I think when you're constantly exposed to that subliminally, that seeps into you. And my dad had always wanted to join the Navy, and he used to tell a great story that he went, must have been down in the Adelaide Rundle Mall, and he went to join the Navy, and he was out to lunch, but the local copper was out the front, and he said, "What are you doing, lad?" And Dad said, "I'm going to join the Navy." He said, "Do you want to join the Navy? Come and join the cops." And Dad went, "Oh." So Dad went off to be a policeman. So I think that too, Dad was always like, the Navy'd be great. Wouldn't the Navy be great?
Yep.
So I guess I sort of turned 15, and my dad was like, "What are you going to do?" "I think you should join the Navy." And I went, "Oh, yeah, that sounds all right." And literally that sort of was about, I guess, how it came about. I think there was always a part of me that loved the idea, particularly of travel, and leadership came quite naturally to me. I enjoyed it, enjoyed responsibility. So I was like, yeah.
Nice. Is that what drew you to the officer side of things?
Yeah, I think Navy in particularly at that time was probably the best for females. It had the most opportunities. Because I'm quite wary by nature, so I didn't want to do logistics, or like if I was going to be in the military, I wanted to be shooting guns.
Awesome.
So Navy really gave me that opportunity. To do that without any of those sort of barriers to sex so I guess that Navy was the most exciting to me, and
Well, I mean, the three of us are Army boys, so it's a not really known area either, like that we know or that I know too much about. So it's interesting hearing other people's stories from.
Yeah, Navy was always, it's a bit Peter Pan. You get out and see the world, and it's a bit of the Wild West. There's not quite as many rules. You go to foreign countries and you get to do things people never get to do. So that really appealed to an adventurer like me too.
Oh, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
I feel as though we got lied to. Like I blatantly got told that I was going to travel the world. I saw Hamel, more Hamel, Dubai.
Mount Bundy,
a lot of Mount Bundy, yeah. And then Afghan, but yeah, definitely didn't travel the world. I mean, yeah.
So by 18, I think we'd opened the Friendship Bridge in Vietnam, and I'll stop because I don't want to make you feel.
Yeah.
No, go for gold. Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah,
it'd be good. So it might turn more people away from joining the green machine and maybe to the blue machine. Might be a more sensible offer.
Yeah, well, that's it. I've heard really good glory stories from the Navy. From other guys in other podcasts, and the stories they tell. Sounds like a pretty fun and exciting sort of.
Yeah, look, when you're young and you don't have responsibilities, family and that, it's a fabulous, adventure. It really is.
Yeah.
I would recommend joining the Navy. I feel as though the Army did more damage to me than good.
Hang on, we're not going down that line.
Just sitting here, my knees are hurting.
Yeah.
A crusty young bloke over here whinging about his injuries, eh?
65-year-old body and a 35. Yeah. Anyway, so deployment-wise, where did you deploy to, and how was your experience on deployment?
Yeah, again, it's interesting. So we were really lucky. We travelled sort of a lot before September 11 happened. And I remember we were going to do a big, must have been a multinational exercise, and we were going all through the Americas. But then obviously September 11 happened. And I can remember watching it live and going, I think my world trip is off. Literally, I don't think that's going to happen. And then, as the rest is history, but I think within... it must have been 4 months. We were deployed to the Persian Gulf. That was interesting for me because, you only sort of train, and I was still only 21, I think, and I was a newly qualified officer of the watch, and, it's a whole different ball game when, it's midnight, the Persian Gulf, and dhows are coming towards you, and all of a sudden you're making life and death decisions.
Yeah.
At 21 still, because, looking back, you really are a kid still
Yeah.
at 21. You're young, you're trained, but you're still very young. And, there's 300 people asleep on the ship.
Yeah.
So, it's a big wake-up call very fast. And then I guess, there's all the hassles with that. How do you deal with that? As you get older, how do you make peace? How do you come back from that adrenaline? And I think you see that a lot with PTSD. How do I come back then and be a mum or have a normal life?
For sure.
When I've been doing this at 21,
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of go back to the school line and
the old mundane normal life is a bit sort of plain Jane.
Yeah. So I think, we know a lot more now, obviously, the amygdala and what happens when we get these heightened senses. But, we even back then, we didn't really talk about it. We got drunk or, we coped as we could cope. And I think that was one of the things for me because I'd watched my pop, what they called back then shell shock.
Yep.
And then I'd watch my dad with PTSD and, no one knew how to treat him. He was just this angry asshole, So it was sort of when I came back, I was like, but there's got to be something better we can do. And when I started having a family, that's when I sort of went, okay, let's stop this, let's heal this in my generation at least, so my kids don't go through the same thing.
So you sought the treatment yourself?
Yeah, I more like I broke down initially because we were deploying somewhere else. I'd gone and done, I'd left sort of the war-y field and I'd gone and become an international Cat A hydrographic surveyor, which I'd done in the UK. And I came back and I'd done a few jobs, XO jobs and navigating jobs. And literally one day I had to go to work and I just couldn't. I literally just, it wasn't anything. I don't remember anything spectacular. Just couldn't leave the house. And I said to my husband at the time, I was like, yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that. So you had a husband and kids when you were in the Navy still?
Yeah, so no, my husband he was also Navy.
Yep.
But no, I didn't have kids till right at the end, and then I
Okay,
left.
yeah, because I was curious. Obviously, to us blokes, like, it's
Yeah.
like, you just have your normal job, but I don't know what
Yeah.
it's like for women who have
Yep.
kids.
Yeah,
Or, you
back
know.
then it was kind of hard because that was sort of I mean, you can't go to sea
Yeah.
when you have children.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
Oh, is that completely off when you've got children?
Well, you can, but
Depends
I mean,
how
as
old
a
they are, I
mother,
guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
a lot
yeah.
of women did, and I watched a lot of women do it. I mean, that's a whole.
Imagine being the bloke and having your kid when they're real young, and
Yeah.
your wife's off to.
You'd be like,
your wife's
"Fuck,
off
get
to
her
war."
back.
Yeah. So you joined quite young at 17, 4 years of training. How did you find stepping out of school and into full-blown military life? And in particular, what were the main challenges you faced?
Yeah, I was a bit luckier, I think, again, because, I'd grown up with veterans in my family.
okay.
My dad, like, the academy seemed quite cool to me after growing up with my dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, he'd have us out patrolling the backyard at 2 a.m. because he was,
Yeah.
having a crazy time.
Yeah.
So I was hugely prepared for what I was stepping into. Like, I knew, but I still found it incredibly challenging. I mean, I was still young, and back then in the academy, there was a lot of bastardization going
Yeah.
along. It was literally Lord of the Flies.
Okay.
So, I struggled with that a little bit.
I was going to touch on that because we all know the military is very much a bro culture.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're trying to fix that now, I'm assuming they're saying they are. But was that a massive change, or was...
Yeah, I struggled actually with that probably the most because, I'd come from a family. My mum's very strong and sort of been in control and run businesses. So my dad, for all, his sort of faults and PTSD, he was quite feminist in his views. He was like, you want to go drive a warship, you go drive a warship.
Yeah.
So when I first sort of got into the military, and it really was that bro culture, and you had to, drive a ship twice as good sort of for half the recognition. I did struggle with that a lot because I can remember literally thinking, oh God, but they think because I'm female I'm not as good. This is weird to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't- But I have seen it get better, and I think they are working hard to shift that culture, but it was still well and
Yep.
truly alive. And I mean, it's sometimes, it's interesting. I can remember when I was first bringing the ship alongside, and, it was only me, and there was 6 blokes all standing around having a giggle about, women parallel parking.
Oh, yeah.
Which you
Yeah.
sort of have a giggle, but when you think of it now as a mum, like, I'd be like, I tear him to shreds. Like,
Yeah.
leave my girl alone. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. But then that, when you go and nail it,
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah. Well,
That was
that's-
just so normal. I didn't even see that as
Yeah.
like, I wasn't even like, oh, this is really inappropriate. I was just like, oh, roll my eyes. I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's kind of innocent banter as
Yeah, they
well.
do.
But now you look back on it, you're like, it is a little borderline unacceptable,
Yeah.
especially to a high-ranking officer as well. So, if you're sitting there and giggling at an officer, man, I'd be putting them straight on duty.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
I've
how's
watched
this?
that.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you get your back and you go?
Yeah,
"Nah."
I did in my own ways.
Yeah.
And
You
I
don't
think
mind
it's
working
good
this
too.
weekend, do you, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll be cleaning the decks,
But
but
I think you'll find that with leadership anyway. You earn respect if you're a good leader.
Yeah, 100%.
So I really, from my troops, I never had issues.
Yeah.
Like,
So
my
leading by
troops,
example, got that respect.
I never had issues. Like, I love them all still to this day, and they're all people I would count on. People outside, maybe other officers, not
Yeah.
so much.
Oh, yeah. So more peers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
And we could definitely go on all night about fresh subbies coming into the battalion and
All day.
thinking all that.
and just trying to cement their authority straight away.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So for us that aren't well naval versed, what exactly is a hydrographic surveyor?
So the easiest way you can sort of describe it is obviously you'll drive using Google, a street map.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we make 3-dimensional maps. So we include the tide, the ocean. So it's really, we're just really street map makers
Yep.
but for the ocean. So we
Yeah,
do
wow.
the coastline, the depths.
Yeah.
So that's mapping obviously the underwater
Yeah.
as well. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's amazing stuff. So a lot of our work was, and this is what really appealed to me, was up, remote Papua New Guinea and
Yeah.
Yeah.
all these untouched places
Yeah.
around the world. Because I mean, Australia ourselves, I think we've mapped 2% of our
Yep.
coastline. And then
Oh,
you think
wow.
that's shifting constantly anyway. So it's really making street maps, but based on probability. So we say, look,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
drive down this road, you've got 70% chance you won't hit a sandbar.
Yeah.
You know, and people
Yeah.
go, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
So-
because I mean, you see even like the old submarine movies, and you've got to go this way for that long and this way, and I didn't realize that was actually like a job.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So you'd have all the secret fishing spots up between the Cape
Yeah,
and
there's,
Papua New Guinea?
yeah, there's a shoal between here and Papua New Guinea, and we nicknamed it O2 Shoal, and you literally just park the boat next to it in Trevally. You wake up in the morning and it's just
Righto.
We'll have to
We're
get
gonna
the
need- We're going to need to get some GPS.
We'll need exact
Longitude,
marks,
latitudes, let's go.
locations, tides, everything, sun. Yeah, we'll need all
the
that.
Navy guys would kill me. secret bro code.
She's already told us, by the way. So
Yeah, it was
shout out all
offline.
those-
It was offline to fuckers.
Yeah, we'll be out there. But now we know it's a shoal. I guess we've got a better chance.
Yeah, you'll find it with your boat.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll have
We
to bribe
got a
another
depth. We got a
hydrographic-
depth sounder, don't we?
Yeah. I doubt we'll find it. So you were awarded the Hugh Pathard Memorial Award for Excellence in Leadership. It's quite the achievement, and one that I'm quite sure you're proud of. Have these leadership skills that you acquired in the Navy flowed into your business life now and led to your success as a businesswoman and a speaker too?
Yeah, I think so, because one of the things I really quickly worked out is that people appreciate authenticity.
Yep.
Like people really resonate. You know, if one of my sailors was struggling, or it wasn't so much, here's what I expect, or it was literally, how can I help? What's happening? Talk to me. You know, and I think I've always carried that through with everything. If I talk to someone, I genuinely care about their answer. When someone comes in my shop or someone's having a problem, like I genuinely care to help them.
Yep.
And I think I see so much, particularly in my sort of industry, is what I call this culture of toxic positivity. You know, this culture of chin up and, you know, you got to keep going hard, you know, bust through. And I just don't think that's true anymore. I think people need to be told it's okay to not be okay and have safe places. And I've always tried to do that, whether I communicate with someone I've just met, whether I'm running my business. Like I won't do business with someone unless, you know, I know their story. I know where they make their product, what their product means to them, you know. So I think in that way, yeah, leadership within the Navy and really harnessing that and realising, you know, I also had the luxury of having witnessed a lot of bad leaders, a lot of people that would scream or throw rulers, and I would think, can't you tell that these people aren't listening to you?
Yeah.
Can't you tell that they're totally disengaged? So you
Yeah.
might have the authority to scream, but there's no power in that.
Yeah.
You're not achieving
It's
anything.
just someone
either.
having a tantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just close off to it.
They literally do,
Yeah.
and I can remember
And they
watching
laugh at
that.
them behind their backs as well, you know?
Yep.
And I remember thinking, I don't want to be that. I want people to want to work with me because they trust that I have their best interests. I don't want them just to come with me because they have to. A bit like what you're talking with the subbies.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And military really used to teach that style of leadership, this big alpha, aggressive,
Yeah.
you know, I'm the biggest dog. And I mean, that might work in high impact situations, but I think longevity, long term, people just switch off from that.
Yeah, and you know, there's that saying, "Lead by example." It's.
I think
like,
that's the best thing that anyone can
yeah,
say.
it speaks for
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it definitely does still have its place. I think in high impact situations like infantry, I would
Yeah.
say, and special forces definitely does have its place. Like I have no drama and did have no drama in getting beasted by a leader that
yeah.
knew what he was doing.
Oh, and
But that's because he's already led by example.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I would absolutely. If I'd explained something to you and you were deliberately obtuse or you
Oh,
weren't
yeah.
doing your job,
Yeah.
I have no qualms in,
Yep.
and again, wouldn't be in an aggressive, overly rude way, but just direct, clear communication. You know better, you're not doing better, therefore this is the result.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a two-way street because your subordinates have to, you know, they have to put in the effort too because
Oh,
you're,
I've
you're just
found,
trying to make
though,
them better.
If you lead by example and you are that person, I found they'll beat themselves up way before you need to beat them up.
Yeah.
They already know they've let you down. They've let the side down. They're already carrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know if you're a genuine, proper, well-led unit, people want to do
Yeah,
the right thing.
Yeah, 100%. You want to work for that person.
Yeah.
and the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a there's nothing worse. Oh, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, it's just the best tool.
Okay.
Are you angry, Mum? No, I'm just.
Oh, my mum just used to just put her head in her hand and just go silent for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh no, I've stuffed up.
It's very much the same in the military too. I'm just disappointed in your private field.
Yeah. Sounds like he's heard those.
Oh, multiple times.
Probably just a couple of times.
Multiple times, yeah. Yeah. So, jeez.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, I am getting flashbacks.
He's going to have Drake
So we have quite the female audience, not necessarily in real life, but in our Web3 environment. And I know they are dying to hear this episode because not a lot of people get influential females on in our space. But could you talk us through how you started Dijolife?
Yeah. When I fell pregnant, again, as I'd said earlier, when I fell pregnant with my first daughter, I really had that aha moment because I was suffering my own PTSD. I wasn't doing well. I'd been abusing alcohol, all the usual things.
Yep.
And I really had a moment where I looked at myself and I went, is this really the best you can do? Like, is this really you living your best life for her, for your family? And when you really look at yourself in the mirror and go, nope, that's not the best I can do. So I went, right, okay, let's change this. So I literally went to the library and I was like, I need to start reading. I need to educate myself. I need to learn about PTSD. I need to learn about different methods of healing. And I actually found a book on soul retrieval that the shamans practice. And it was so eye-opening to me, when they talked about how when we suffer traumas, particularly as children, parts of us break off, which also aligns with science. We detach, detachment theory. And until we can bring these parts back to us, we don't operate as a whole person. We can mask them with alcohol, with drugs, with whatever, workaholic. But until we actually bring those parts back of us and understand what's going on, we won't be whole. So I made that my mission.
That makes heaps of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, I need to bring all of these parts back. And one thing that became really clear to me was that there had to be, and no one was really talking about this. I was like, there has to be a generational aspect because I watched my grandfather sit in his shed, drink port, smoke cigarettes, and then I watched my dad battle alcohol. And then I was doing the same thing and I was like, this is generational too. Like, we need to heal generationally what's running through this family. So then I think once you own that, it's about not making excuses and actually doing the work. And again, I see this a lot in modern day, this toxic positivity, I'll get a massage or I'll do this, but it's not real, true self-help. And how I started Dijo was doing the disciplined work, which means learning mindfulness, learning yoga, and then being disciplined in your practice, calling your behaviours out. And so what I was doing is I was helping a lot of local girls who were doing yoga, and they sort of said, Sarah, this is brilliant. Like, I've never come from this holistic approach. And they said, you should write it down. Then I wrote a book. It did really well. And then, it just sort of grew, which again, I think it's authentic. I didn't set out to go, okay, we're going to conquer the self-help world.
Yep.
It literally came from a place, how can I help you? And then more people, and it resonates with people. So I think, that's basically how Dijo started. And then I wanted to get into my artistic design too, which is another aspect of myself. So that's how the shop and my designs have started.
Are you still taking yoga or doing yoga classes?
Only myself. They're trying to hit me up at the moment. I might be doing a class next year.
I think it's something we all definitely need to practice on a very serious note, actually, to keep the body ticking over and probably for that wellness that you're talking about as well. It does have a lot of positive effects.
Well, it's understanding, and I say it a lot with people, they try and get into yoga and they're like, I'm doing this. So I'm like, it's not so much about what you're doing, it's about understanding why your body can't do things. Like, I watch a lot of people, you see military people have rolled forward shoulders.
100%.
Yeah.
That's because we subconsciously are protecting ourselves.
It's a lot about just the breath working and calming yourself that way anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, because we all shallow breathe and we know that breath is our connection to life.
Yeah.
But it's allowing that mind to slow down, because especially military people and service military people, war, we're constantly in the front of our heads. We're ready for anything. We're always on edge. So it's actually taking a step back and getting out of that and allowing your body to calm, which is where yoga is so powerful.
And hopefully someone in power is listening to this. Maybe they could look at adding yoga to DVA instead of just making it videos that they've done. I've seen that, they offer yoga as a treatment, but then you click on it and it's just a video.
Yeah, and I think
You
yoga,
clickbaited me.
again, like you said, you have to have that authentic teacher.
Yeah.
You have to have that person that's taking a journey with you, that's not ashamed to get in the trenches.
Yeah.
I have heard of boys doing yoga for rehabilitation and sort of their own sort of self. Rosie was doing it after he left.
Oh yeah, he's a yogi, isn't he?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he unfortunately he had to call it quits with COVID.
Okay.
But he was doing that for years, and he was getting people through that sort of he was making a business out of it.
Yeah, brilliant.
And helping people through it like that, and he rates it. Yeah.
And it's also, this is the thing people don't know, yoga is actually really hard if you do it properly.
Yeah,
It's
well,
incredible.
I've done one
Yeah.
session in the gym, and I was doing a couple of downward dogs. I'm like, this feels a bit weird.
I think that's why it's good to have that physical sort of space to be able to do it too, because how do you know if you're doing it right, correctly? Yeah. And I'm sure, it's a pretty old sort of thing, so there's a reason why, it's like when going to the gym and not having a trainer to show you how to do stuff.
You need to be critiqued.
Yeah.
But there's always been this sort of idea around military, and we've always understood, if you know anything, Bowen therapy, which is another really powerful therapy that works on meridian lines. That was started by a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, right.
There's so many veterans that come at this holistic approach, and I think we're getting better at breaking down the walls. I'm a big man, I don't do yoga.
Yeah.
I think people are getting better at that. I think
Yeah.
people are going, actually, no, I'm open to anything that will.
Yeah.
I think that's getting broken down quite rapidly, actually. Like Ryan just said, he's a big man that was doing yoga. So I think it's slowly, quickly getting adopted by more people. People are seeing the benefits quite quickly, like eating clean, going to natural foods, yoga, like alternate therapies, other than just getting pills jammed down your throat by a doctor now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people too are coming now. We're getting better at understanding, and this is probably another point with my leadership. I think true leaders understand that they're vulnerable.
Yep.
True leaders have the ability to be vulnerable in an open setting, and I think people are getting a lot better now at recognising that too.
Yeah.
Hey, look how brave she is. She's vulnerable. She can stand up there and say she
Yeah.
hasn't got it all together, rather than showing someone this glossy image of someone doing yoga and how perfect her life is, actually saying, hey, I do this because I'm so messy.
Yeah.
It's a different approach for
And
people.
it's okay.
And it's okay. We're all messy. This glossy world we present is just not true.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And, Instagram only makes that worse. I only put my good pictures up there and they're still horrendous.
I was going to say,
Just fishing photos.
You got a lot of photos for
Just straight fishing photos. They're terrible, actually.
It's the same fish.
Yo, if you need some inspiration. I rinse it.
honestly,
I rinse and repeat
he
them.
just poses with my fish anyway.
I've got fish from years back that I just rinse and repeat now. So, it makes my life look like I'm just fishing all the time. So, has there been a pivotal moment of failure in your business, or has it been relatively smooth sailing and calm water? Excuse the pun.
Yeah, no. See, I chose, again, I thought COVID hit and I was like, okay, let's take the next step. It's COVID. It's probably the worst time in the world. If you can start something and it's not bad, then it'll be okay. And I did, and it's been great. So touch wood. There hasn't been a pivotal failure yet. But again, I think, if you're doing what you love, even if you make mistakes, they're not necessarily failures. They'll open you up.
Yeah,
I've made mistakes,
Yeah.
but they've opened up new avenues, and I've gone, didn't even know
See,
that
the boys asked me the same question, and I didn't know how to answer because I was like, I don't really class anything as a failure.
Yeah,
you come into
exactly.
problems, and you work a way to get past the problem or fix the problem, and then you just learn from that. And you don't do that again.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It depends on your attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, I think exactly right. If
Yeah.
everything's a learning opportunity,
Yep.
you don't really see.
as failures.
I've done a few things. I'm like, that was a silly learning experience.
Yeah,
could have
but it's-
avoided that.
It's good to know we're all human. We all make mistakes, but if you can learn from it and keep going, then that's ultimately the best thing possible.
That's like I'm sure you had the same saying in the Navy. You know, it is a lesson learned.
Yeah.
You just got to move on and.
You just got to try not to make that mistake again, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think, again, be gentle with yourself. Like military, like you said, you know, we make a mistake and it's such a boom, boom, boom.
Well, it's the end of the world.
You
Yeah.
know, so I think being able to go, hey, it's my business.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll
Yeah, I
probably
mean-
do it again.
I mean, not having your right shoelace over the left shoelace.
Don't give me a couple of drinks, I'll make that mistake. Royal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, business-wise, what are your plans from here? So you've got the store. You might be going back into yoga.
Yep.
Sort of, what's your 5 to 10 year plan? Is there a plan in place?
Yeah, I don't
Like expansion
I
even?
don't too much make plans anymore because I think that often, you know, again, bit of this toxic culture. Everyone's got to have a goal. Everyone's got to have a plan. I think sometimes you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the true joy is just found in enjoying the moment. And that's what I found here. It's just organically growing. You know, people have started approaching me saying, Sarah, I'd love to stock your dresses. So again, they're people that have come to me. They're lovely. They're organic. So I'm like, okay. So I think we'll slowly expand into other like-minded shops. I've got girls coming in. They're going to be working full-time, and then I can focus more getting back to, I really do miss sort of the big event talking,
Yep.
connecting, because it is a different experience, you know, when you can literally help people shift and change their lives. So I want to get back into that. I really enjoy that.
It's
But
terrifying.
No, I love it.
Oh, I did one on Sunday, and I am legit
He was a
petrified
wreck
of it.
beforehand.
Oh yeah, it is my worst fear. Like I'd rather be shot at than stand in front of 200 people and talk.
Oh, really? But I think
killed it,
you-
though. He nailed
Yeah,
it.
you would have killed it.
Yeah,
Next time, just literally think to yourself, these people want the best for me.
I am very good at working the crowd to my weakness,
Yeah.
which is obviously my shakes and my stuttery voice when
Yeah.
in front of people. But I can make them believe that it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So the crowd was very persuaded and receptive of that. But
If your message is authentic, it's you.
100%.
People don't care how you deliver it.
Yeah.
Like I've got up there sometimes and just cried. I couldn't. And they're like, "Oh, come on, darling."
Yeah. They sort of stop thinking about why you're so nervous.
And
if you're
it's-
authentic.
And I don't know why. It's so funny. I've done 500 people and been fine.
Oh, that's
nailed
horrible.
it. But I did once not long ago a little legacy dinner, and there was
Yeah.
like 10 people, and I could not stop crying.
Yep.
And they were like, they're all at the end. They're all giving me a cuddle.
Yeah.
We're all standing up together.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting though, nerves, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
Oh,
Probably because there's a more of an intimate feeling
when they're
with
looking
smaller
right
crowd.
at you,
Yeah.
And you're bearing that
Yeah.
soul, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so for expansion, I think I'll just keep going with the flow, letting it organically grow. I haven't literally ever put down a goal or an end point. I'm really conscious of the fact that as it grows, it's growing what's organically,
Yep.
what's the right fit,
Yeah.
I don't have business mentors. I don't. It's very.
Yeah.
It's a holistic business too. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And so I don't think we touched on it yet, but what sort of skills did you gain when you were in the Navy that, like, you've been able to transfer?
Definitely.
Because we see a lot of people who, they're not sure what to do. They might be a bit scared to go out on their own, but
Yeah.
they might really want to. And we like highlighting, you do have the right
Yeah.
skills in the arsenal to be able to go out. And,
Well, I mean, I'm a ship driver and I now design clothes.
Yeah.
Like I've never done a course. I've never,
Yeah.
I think the thing the military gives you, and particularly if you've seen active service and like that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like that you'll get through. You're adaptable. You're resilient. That you're strong mentally. You know that you can go without sleep.
yeah.
You know that you can do all these things. And I think because you know that of yourself, you downplay that. But when you actually go out into civvy world, not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah.
Like it's not
true.
a skill set people have. And like I know that I could be up all night with my kids and have a terrible night, but I know that I'll front up
Yeah.
tomorrow. because I know that's in me, because it's always been in me. I've always had to do that. Whereas you watch other people like, oh, I've had too bad a night, I'm not opening today.
Well, yeah, you hold yourself accountable.
You do.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves to such a high standard.
Yep.
And I think that's what makes us so successful in business. I watch so many people make excuses or this isn't happening, but I always find military people like Ben that you just spoke to. Ben will come down and be like, Sarah, it's a quiet day today. Is it me? Is it the arcade? Is there a boat in town? I'm like, Ben, just breathe, mate. Breathe. But, you know, he doesn't sit there and go, oh, it's the end of the world, I'm going home. He's like, okay, what can we do?
Trying to be proactive.
He's always looking and exactly, that's the other thing I find. Military people are proactive. Like they look for opportunities. And again, I think because it's in our DNA, like what's going to happen next? Am I prepared for it? Is the ship going to come? Are we going to go to action stations? Like something is going to happen. So I'm going to think of 30 scenarios so that I've got them covered when they hit.
Yeah. Which then almost becomes that little bit of anxiety sort of just rolling things through your head. Because I find sometimes I need to properly switch off at night because I'll go to bed and I'm my own worst enemy. I go to bed, check my calendar, who have I got in tomorrow, read his email, and then I've got an hour of lying in bed thinking about what I'm going to do with the design. You're like, read this shit in the morning, you dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, because you just...
But we're so ingrained to be professional.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes us, like, you'll never go into a military person's business and they'll be like, hey, what's up? Oh, sorry, I didn't see your email, dude. Like, what are you here for?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, you probably get, God, calm down, you know?
Yeah, I'm the
You're
same.
3 minutes early, what do we...
Yeah, well, I like if I know I've got something really big happening that day, I'll set the alarm for 6.
Yeah.
But then I get up at 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm just ready, you know, and the body's just
But that is
acknowledges
such a
it's-
skill set that I think we downplay in the military because we all do it.
And the ability to be able to operate when you're waking up way earlier.
100%.
Yeah.
On minimal hours sleep.
And we don't tend to make excuses. Like I've never walked into a military person's business and they've gone, oh, it's not working today because of this.
Because I'm
They'll
tired.
literally own it.
Yeah.
Like they'll always, or they're, you know. So I think it might not necessarily be, you know, I drive ships so now I'm going to do a charter boat. Like, you know, but I think it's understanding that you have this whole skill set.
Yeah.
That you
Ingrained,
can
ingrained
transfer.
in you, yeah.
You just have to find a way to express those skills, I guess, sort of transfer them out of army talk into civilian or military talk into civilian talk.
And I think find, you know, what you're passionate, like you obviously love tattooing, like find what it is you love and, you know, just have a crack.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, you know, like we opened this, I think, with $20,000 and, you know, just have a crack. And I think that's the thing you got to get rid of. In military particularly, I see we carry a lot of shame. Like I need to be successful. And I think if we can, you know, care less about what people think and actually just have a crack. And if it doesn't work, oh, well, it didn't work. You know, I'll try something different.
Yeah.
But releasing that fear of even having a crack.
Yeah, well, you're going to miss every shot that you don't take.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The best business lessons are learnt from, you know, not so successful ventures
They
too.
really are. And Richard Branson talks about that a lot. He's great. You know, he started lots of businesses that failed. And he said, I just went, oh, it failed.
Yeah.
So I started something else.
Yeah, rinse
You know,
and repeat.
They don't take it as I'm a failure. They take it as the business failed. You know, so I think for military people in particular, it's so ingrained in us not to fail. I think that stops a lot of people from even starting.
Yeah.
And you touched on it just then. You only started with $20,000. I think a lot of, especially Army boys and Army women, think they need mass amounts of money to start these businesses.
You really don't. And this is the thing, like, best bit of advice, especially if you want a little shop or you're doing something, go in and negotiate. Like, you bring a strong skill set. There's a lot of empty businesses. Go in and say, mate, I'm going to come in for 6 months rent-free, but I'm going to guarantee
I'm no good at that, am I?
I?
I've learned to get better. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, you have to. And you have to fight your corner, you know. Don't be scared to ask that, you know. This is what I want.
Yep.
You know, because you're going to bring something because you know you'll give it a good crack.
Yep.
Yeah, that's unreal. Yeah, that's really good advice.
I think that's a big issue. People think they need too much money. But I would also like to add, you know, you should be saving a lot of your military career money as well. You get everything. Not that I saved a red cent.
Did anyone save theirs?
Look, I saved my.
Hands up round and say,
I blew
what
my
have you
Afghan
saved,
money
Danny?
in 2 months.
I saved a little bit. Yeah, I saved a little bit, but yeah.
I was 21 years old, right?
Yeah.
I didn't save anything.
Yeah.
They need to be putting people on a saving structure, I believe. Just
They
stashing
could do
20%.
a better effort, the military, in helping people.
Yeah, just financial education would go a
100%.
long way.
Totally.
20%.
ADCU hit me up about 3 months before they knew I was obviously going to Afghan, saying, do I want to increase my credit card limit? And I was like, you beauty. You mean I can get more money? I was like, bloody oath, give me some more money.
Free money.
Maxed the whole thing out before I went over, and of course paid it off when I went back when I went overseas. But yeah, I think I loaded 20K or something.
Yeah.
From $7,000, they upped me another like
That's
13.
so
You know?
irresponsible.
It is.
financially.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, really.
Yeah.
It's predatory.
Yeah,
Hey, look, I
gouging.
wasn't thinking that at the time. I was
you're
stoked
loving it.
as,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, like you're 20 years old then, so I'm like, bloody oath, give me that money.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
I would love to see them implement some kind of saving strategy. If it's just 10% of their wage put aside into escrow or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's got to be something because you do earn a decent wage. So, if you were to get out with sort of 50 grand saved, you'd be in a lot better spot to,
exactly.
again, start a business.
Blowing that Afghan money so quickly has taught me a lesson to never take for granted 100 grand because I've been working hard and I don't have 100 grand. You
That's
know
a lot
what
of
I mean?
money.
Like, and again, since Afghan, never got a credit card ever again after Afghan. So
Yeah.
again, like, I
learnt your
I
lessons.
racked
Yeah.
up 20 G's on the credit card. I blew my 100 grand Afghan money in 2 months. I learnt from those mistakes. You know what I mean? So
Pretty good
again,
2 months, though.
Their life, yeah, there was a good 2 months. They're good life experiences in itself, where it sort of helped me. But yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And I think we can sort of get to the final end of the podcast here. But, we're speaking about transition. So what would be your best advice? Or do you have a checklist that you would give to people that are about to transition out of the military and contemplating starting a business or even just contemplating going back to work?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I really see repeated over and over again is that I think people need to realise when you leave the military, the vast majority of us will grieve because you've literally left this brotherhood, sisterhood, this family, this, this great structure that supports you and loves you, and you literally walk out the door and it's gone.
Well, you're institutionalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that there is I found for me and most people I know, there's a real grieving period where you feel like you're ripped apart from that family. You're a little bit lost. And I think, I know I've spoke about this a lot with the military and the RSL. We need to do a better job of transitioning people. And then, so I'd say give yourself time. It's really hard because for each person it's going to be different. Like if you're a go-getter, some friends I've seen leave and then they're like, holy shit, freedom! And they just,
And
they're
they excel,
now
yeah.
heads of corporations.
Yeah.
But other people will always struggle with that sense of loss of community, and they don't feel as comfortable going out on their own. So I think if you know that you're a bit of a go-getter and you know that you like to have a crack, I think you're naturally going to flow towards that. But I think don't beat yourself up either if that's not you.
Yep.
Like if you're more of a team player and, you're going to be better in a group business, you're going to be better in another tight community group, because I don't think, to be honest, business isn't for everyone.
No.
Like it's
hard work.
It's
Yeah, it's hard work.
lonely.
Long hours.
And then you got your basses, you got your taxes.
Oh,
and,
it does your head in.
Oh my god!
Especially if you're like me and you hate giving money to the
yeah, it feels like
GST,
it feels like you've just
yeah.
done one. It feels like you've just done one. Then
Yeah.
next minute you got to submit another one.
10
You're like,
forward, 5
where
back.
does this thing come from?
And it is tricky, solo business because you do everything.
And then if you got
From
staff
social
members even
media,
added,
staff-
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, and in a lot of ways, sometimes it is easier to work for someone else
Yeah.
and have, if that suits your lifestyle better,
What about study? Because I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here. I believe that officers get a little bit better run when they leave for one real reason. They've got
For one, don't go one.
well, yeah, one real reason because they've got an education.
Yeah.
I would say the majority of officers are coming out with degrees. So they're a little bit in front when they come out.
I'd argue actually most of the sailors I saw actually had it better because they had
Okay.
transferable skill sets. So they were electricians, they were plumbers, they were technicians. They literally walked into, like my husband was a P rate, which we call in the Navy, he walked into an electrical job.
Yeah.
$150,000 a year. Me, I'm a Cat A hydrographic surveyor. Yeah. Like unless I'm getting $300,000 a year as a harbour master in Hobart,
Yeah.
which is few
Yeah.
and far between, I have no transferable skill set.
Yeah.
So
I
again,
had none.
plugging the Navy
Yeah.
really, because I mean the Army, you don't really come out with
For
anything
Navy,
like that. Yeah.
it certainly, I feel, was a lot better for the junior
100%.
sailors because they had that transferable skill set and we looked after with that for the officers. I mean, literally when I left, I wasn't even qualified to drive a tinny. They didn't even
true.
transfer my navigational skills. Like I'd
Really?
had how many hours, I don't even know. I had to go and get a license to drive a tinny.
Wow.
$700.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Fuck.
So not even like Masters 5 or anything
No,
like that.
I think they've fixed it up now. I'm not 100% sure. I'm out of the loop, but I literally left, with nothing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I can't even go and hire a crab boat. And
That's getting back to the
I made
ADF,
the
I know.
chart. That
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, so I don't know. It depends again. Like, yes, if you're a lawyer, you know, we have a saying in the Navy, choose your rate, choose your fate.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a longevity plan, some people are really smart at it,
Yeah.
others not so much.
And not everyone's suited to uni either. Like,
Yeah,
I
uni's,
know
I
I'm
think,
not.
getting a bit more obsolete now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
Yeah,
basically,
I couldn't-
your
I
statement's been
can't.
blown well and truly
Oh,
out of the
look,
water.
I'm happy to.
He seems okay with
yeah,
it.
I'm fine with that. You know, no skin off my nose.
we'll wait for all
He'll be at the pub. He's like, can't believe I asked that fucking stupid question.
No, but I am stewing in my head about it a little bit. I was like, I still get a bloody better run.
Right, we're editing that out.
I'm not really. I'm not stewing at all. You know, I
Maybe
say
it's
this.
just me. I chose the wrong rate. Should have done law or something.
Oh,
Making
yeah.
$1 million in Melbourne.
That
Well,
would've been-
I
that'd
hope
have been
Kelly
tough.
listens to this. My partner, because she's a lawyer, hear that you can make $1 million in Melbourne, and I won't have to work again. That's the ideal
No
situation.
pressure, Kel.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation. You're on a mill.
Why is it a we thing?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, we.
yeah, it
Notice how
definitely
we
won't
switched
be.
to we.
Yeah.
Well, I got to slip it in there somewhere. I'll still be working. That's 100% sure. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our podcast. I just want to thank you for having us in your store today. To get three, sort of tattooed up dudes coming into your store. It's different for us, and I'm sure a little bit different for you as well.
No, it's
So
pretty usual.
oh, really?
A lot of tattoo dudes getting dresses.
Oh, jeez.
It's quite common. It is Cairns.
Yeah, who knows? Arguably the biggest guest we've had on our show so far.
That's nice.
It was a great podcast as well, I must say.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks for chatting with me too. And I love what you guys are doing. Like, it's brilliant.
Thank
Really
you.
great.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
It'll be good. It'll be good when we get properly off the ground and run with it with a bit of backing. I reckon just from the hustle of just doing it for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
But I think too, like, you guys remember, I know we're closing, but like, this is the glory moment. Like, this is the authentic moment. You guys are doing it because you want to.
Yeah.
And it screams that, you're not doing it to make gazillions. You're doing it because you're passionate.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, look, if Spotify's going to sponsor us for $100 million like Joe Rogan, we're all about that,
God, Joe Rogan, don't start. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, I won't go down that rabbit hole. But, we aim to empower all veterans, and I think we portrayed that and will achieve that through this episode. I also get the feeling that this will empower a big part of our audience as well in the space that we dance around in, being Web3. So just to wrap it up, where can everyone find your socials, your published book, and, the store here as well for people when they come to Cairns?
Yeah, so we've got Dijolife, DIJO life.com.
Perfect.
That will usually give you a link to everything. You can see sort of the shop, my book, probably pictures of my kids because I do my own website too.
Awesome. Yeah, love it.
But yeah, if they get on there, and they can always come visit us in Cairns here. We're in Oceana Walk.
Perfect.
I think between Grafton and Lake Street.
Yes, looking at the
I
wrong
know.
person.
I'm
Look,
looking
I
at the
live
fella
here.
from Bathurst.
I live here and I don't even know I don't even know what street we're on, and I live here. So
We're in Cairns.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
that bit. Yeah,
You'll find
I
it.
know I'm
We're
going to
in
have a parking ticket too, so
up
that's
in the
going to be
north.
fantastic.
Google will tell you.
But
Yeah.
and also, like, I love to, I reach out to lots of veterans, so I get
Perfect.
lots of messages and that, and don't ever be scared to send me an email or let me know.
I'm going to buy one of your candles before I go
Oh,
because they're going to be good.
he's trying to spruce up his man cave.
Yeah, they smell that good. I need to get one.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got a slight dog issue at our place at the moment, so we might need some more scent too.
Yeah.
I want to send the missus down, she can sort that out. But once again, thank you for having us. The Wardogs NFT mission and team and all related podcast episodes and content are provided for general information purposes only and do not constitute accounting, legal, tax or other professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer or other professionals.